So I won't be taking too much time. I will try to explain to you how to prepare for ethics. Um, First of all, for be it ethics or any GS, syllabus is the key, is the foundation upon which we have to build our knowledge, our preparation, everything. So if we look at the syllabus, we have, overall around eight topics. We have ethics, human interference, we have attitude, we have aptitude, emotional intelligence, moral thinkers, then public service values and ethics and purpose, and probity in governance and case studies based on all the topics which have been discussed recently. After that, now we have to identify the sources. After syllabus, we have to identify the sources. We can have one standard book, which can be anyone. Currently, I prefer DK Balaji sir's book, which is available in the market. Apart from that, we have Vishnu sir's notes as well and the class notes as well. So at the end, ensure that we have one standard book and the class notes which you are, undertaking for your understanding. After that, we have to zero in. We have to compare all the notes whichever we have. Since we discussed the syllabus which we had, for that we have to bring in, one line definition, one line answer. What all the subheadings are. Try to write. Have concise notes. From the standard books, from your class notes, whatever the sources you have, try to bring it in a single paper so that it will be helpful for your last revision. And then we have to come back to previous year questions now. Why previous year questions? Previous year questions, if you see, 95% of the questions revolve around the topics which have been given in the syllabus. And within the syllabus, if you see, we have so many subheadings within there. For example, in probity and governance, many people think, we have to make notes in probity. Generally, they just make notes of probity. But within the probity and governance, we have several dimensions. For example, we have codes of conduct, codes of ethics, we have citizen charter, we have work culture, we have quality of service delivery, etc. So ensure that for each and every minute headings at the granular level, you have notes ready. Whatever the class notes, whatever the standard books, whatever content is there, just try to synthesize it and put it in a single piece of paper for your revision. Now, when I say notes, just ensure that there are two types of notes. One note is elaborate notes. For every minute subheadings, have one note. After that, try to have short notes. In the short notes, what it will be comprising of is like if you have a topic like integrity, we have probability like this. Just have two-line definition. After that, as I was saying, why to have short notes? Because in short notes, why we need short notes is before exam we just have like limited days, and especially in the last 1 week before the exam, we will be focusing more on optional on GS revision everything. So what is the use of short notes is it will be helpful in last minute revision, especially in the last in the last 1 week, and also during the breaks. Yes, where I left at the notes and short notes. Along with the notes, ensure the short notes. We discussed recently what are the important ingredients for the short notes. So notes are the elaborate one, and short notes are just a concise and crisp. Synthesis of your bigger notes. After that, we have another one good source is the toppers copies. Toppers copies if you are reading through multiple, because I have gone through multiple toppers copy, because every time we can't go and search for multiple content. In toppers copies, you can easily pick examples, you can easily pick introductions, you can easily take so many of diagrams, everything. Just see how the way they are structuring their answers. And then generally students, they are in a hurry. Even within starting the ethics preparation, they are in a hurry to write the answers. But that is like not the right way, because first of all, try to accumulate the knowledge, knowledge in ethics. Then you try to write the answers. Don't be in a hurry to start answer writing. Don't be in a hurry to value add, because until and unless you don't build your foundation, it will be very difficult for you to write properly. Then, what sort of examples? Because usually we have so much of materials in the market, we have so many books which we get so many examples. But apart from that, try to give a personal touch. In your life, over a period of 20 years, you would have come across several incidents which you would have demonstrated various ethical values in your personal life. Try to give a personal touch to the answers as well. Apart from that, as previous session was more, focused on newspaper reading. if you see in the 2 3 months itself, you would have come across several examples. So just in the short note which I discussed, just try to keep on enriching your content by taking whatever the examples you get it from the newspaper. So just try to keep it concise and everything, put it in a single piece of paper, so it will be helpful in last minute revision. Don't keep it in a haphazard manner so that you are not able to revise at the end. Then when we have accumulated all the sources, when we have accumulated, we have read elaborately the standard books, the class notes, the value-added things, everything. Now comes the part of your answer writing. In the answer writing, one has to focus on how to structure your answer. It is like a GS, it is like other paper, but in ethics, if you are able to understand how to structure your answer, you will be able to score wonderfully. So whatever the questions are, they will be giving, comparing to, for example, in 2022 and 2021, they have asked one question, how consent helps in resolving crisis for a public servant. So there itself, they have given you the keywords to write answer. So ensure that you are trying to define both the points which they have given the question, then try to establish a connecting and linking statement between both the points. After that, you just first of all give up, what are the points, what are the questions they are demanding, just try to write 5 6 points. But along with the points, there this is the place where you can make the difference. Because here for every point, try to bring in one example. Try to bring in some different dimensions to the exam, to the points. Try to draw a diagram. So these are the brownie points which you can do here. And then generally people think that if you are trying to address the question, your answer is complete, but it is not that way. Because ethics is a relative concept. Whatever is ethical for me, it won't be ethical for you. So try to whatever the points they have asked in the question. Along with it, try to counter the topic as well. Then it gives a balanced standpoint of view for you. And then the conclusion is very key. It's one of the key point. In conclusion, take a balanced stand. Just try to say what way it will be. You will be giving some suggestions or how you will be resolving the deadlock, how you will be coming out of the ethical dilemma. So depending upon the question, try to come up with a balanced and a positive conclusion. That way, your answer should be good. Then many people think that I'm not able to write good ethics answer. I would say never ever complain, take actions. That is the thing. Because there are people who, without practicing, they are able to write good answers in ethics. But it differs from people to people. For personally, I am little bit good at writing, but for ethics, I was struggling a little bit. So, post prelims, especially post prelims who are writing, appearing for mains, they can practice ethics answer writing every day. But who are in the preparatory phase, they can do one question per day, or like if per weekly they can run some test series, ethics test series. For practice. So this way they can ensure that they are able to write proper answers in the ethics. But from that, we have some sources. What are the previous years we have? There are some good sources. For example, Smita ma'am for of Fusion, she comes up with the model answers for the UPSC questions every year. If you see the questions, you will understand. If you see the answer structure, you will understand in what way the ethics answer has to be written properly. So there are multiple sources. Don't be afraid that ethics it looks different way. It is like because it is just a written personality test. It is nothing. You just have to write everything you know about the ethics. You just have to write, put it in the papers. You just have to work on presenting your viewpoints in a lucid, in a brief, and in a concise way. That is. So ensure that you are, gathering multiple sources. Ensure that you are seeing multiple answers. Ensure that you are having enriched, content to put it in your paper. Apart from that, one of the key is share your papers. Give it for evaluation. The constructive criticism, the constructive feedback which they give is of value. Is one of the important sources based on which you can improve your scores. After that, we have the case studies. The case studies are nothing; they are just based on the values. They are based on the content which I have discussed in the above things. In the case study, try to write in such a way because it's like 3 4 pages. Generally, students tend to write in paragraphs. But that is not the way because case study, the evaluator will be fed up. It will be monotonous to read entire 3 pages because there are 5 6 case studies. So try to bring it break it down into headings and subheadings. Try to bring in diagrams, highlight the important key points. You don't have to, use different color pen, just the normal pen. You can just highlight it. That would suffice. That would highlight your answers. That should be highlighting your key points as well. And also in the case studies, try to ensure that you are writing the values. Because if you want to say about integrity, if you want to say about probability, whatever it is, just ensure that your the value has been mentioned in your answer point and it has been highlighted appropriately. Because then only the evaluator will understand that you understand that what is the case study is about, what are the values we are looking into the case study. Everything is crystal clear. And then we have another one important source is second ARC. Generally, people think second ARC is not needed, but second ARC there are few chapters on public services which can be read. But I would suggest there is no need to read a original ARC. We have several summaries, especially GS Core, Vision IAS agreement. We have so many materials. You could look into that second ARC report as well. So whatever is related to the ethics, you could just look in and look into that and make short notes out of it. So when you mention in your ethics that as per second ARC something is there, they also know understand that you have read something. They have put in some extra effort. So it also acts as a value addition to your notes. And there is a huge dilemma related to online notes or handwritten notes. Because me personally, I'm a, physical hard copy person. Because I believe this exam is a pen and paper exam. The more you are able to write, the more you are able to digest, the more you are able to reproduce in your paper. So try to make notes. What are the books you have? Around 200, 300 pages of books you have. Try to make handwritten notes as per your needs, as per your understanding. There is no, generally people say that toppers are making 2 pages note, 3 pages note, he's making so and so note. So don't be bogged down by these kind of facts. So at the end, you have to write your answer, you have to write your exam. Ensure that whatever you are making, it is understandable to you. So it doesn't mean that you have to make a note for 100 pages. So ensure that in 30 pages, 40 pages, 50 pages, whatever you are able to make, you are able to understand that. And then if you are comfortable with making online notes, because in online notes you can easily update. You can update, you can rewrite everything you can do. But in handwritten, it will be difficult. But it differs from person to person. So ensure that whichever approach is favorable for you, you do follow that. And also apart from that, ethics, we know that most of the questions are coming within the syllabus. Because when you look at the syllabus, it looks very simple. It is just very, hardly 7, 8 topics are given. But ensure that nowadays, if you see the previous year papers, especially there, this is where the previous year are holding very important place. You will see there is an interdisciplinary way of asking questions. For example, 2020, they are asking NEP in ethics paper. So those kind of questions, when you see, it looks like it's a GS1, but it is the ethical. It's from the ethical perspective how to write. So be ready for that as well. When you will be ready for that, when you have broader knowledge, broader understanding of every topic. So by preparing now, also we have 1 year time. So try to broaden your knowledge horizon. Read the standard books, class notes properly. Then you try to make your own notes. Then you try to go for valuation. It's a systematic process. Just go from the base, try to build the foundation. Then you try to build the superstructure. And at the same time ensure that there is important chapter known as moral thinkers which I left. So moral thinkers, philosophers, we have an important chapter. This chapter is not only helpful for your ethics because every year there is some code based or some answer related to one or the other philosopher or thinker. This will also helpful in your essay answers. In essay you could quote the thinkers, you could quote various ethical thinkers. There, okay, for example, Thomas Hobbes. You can quote also about social contract theory, especially in philosophical essays. So in that way also ethics is very helpful. So don't neglect that moral thinkers and philosophers. Even in your in your ethical answers, you need to mention these kind of philosophies. You need to mention these thinkers so that people understand that people understand that the way of answer we have written has some ethical touch to it. That is the thing. And also identify which are the topics which are rewarding because it's not when we are saying that around 8 topics are there. There are few topics. For example, emotional intelligence. Questions are every year repeating from that topic. Then there is probability. Every year you will find one or two questions. Then there is a topic known as attitude. there are questions repeating from there. So identify the core things which are being repeated. So that topics try to focus on more, because the questions are coming sure. It will be very helpful and it will be easy for you to write in the exams and also score more. And while writing answers, one thing I totally forgot is try to ensure that you are trying to think from your perspective. It is not like other GS papers which you have to be more academical. This paper can be little, it's like a written, as I said, it's a little personal interview. Ensure that you are writing as per your understanding. And along with it, ensure that you are adding ethics. I mean to say, it is a balance between your academics and your thinking also. So, and try to ensure that you are maintaining a harmonious balance between both the thinking and you are trying to write, because it shows originality in your answers. Because ethics is like a miniature version of an essay. So if you in an essay, how we demand original thinking. In ethics also, people expect original thinking. What is your perspective on it? Because ethics is a relative concept. There is no hard and fast rule that what is ethics, what is ethical like. Because what is ethical to me is not ethical for other person. So it is very relative. So try to maintain a balance. Try to bring in both the perspective, your perspective as well as the book's perspective to your answer. And there is one more important point. There are multiple sources for your ethics. I mean to say, in the market now there is a huge saturation, especially in terms of sources. So just stick to one book and the class notes, more than enough, because it is more about practice. Ethics, over a period of time, when you practice more, you will find it's very easy. It's very you are able to write properly. Because if you are trying to run behind multiple sources, at the end you won't be able to understand the nuances of ethics. You won't be able to have a proper notes, everything. You just stick to two things: your class notes and your standard books, or even we have some institute materials, like even Vishnu Sir's materials are there. Even we have forum I use Red book, that also is very comprehensive book. So these are some very common materials which everyone uses. So the real game changer, the difference is in your value addition. So try to enrich your content, because content remains same. Everyone has to write within the 2 pages. Everyone is able to write them. But where you can make difference is the content enrichment, especially in terms of examples, in terms of diagrams, and then the quotation. Quotation, it's not like essay that you have to overdo it, just one appropriate quotation. You should not be doing it unnaturally. Everything has to come into the flow. So ensure that it has been put in appropriate places. And in the short notes, ensure that whatever the topics, you're trying to bring in the short notes, for integrity or probability or emotional intelligence, have a standard definition. Just repeat it over a period of time. Because of repetition, you will be able to replicate the exact definition, exact example, exact diagram. Because I know many friends who used to do it as a ritual. Before going to bed, they used to read all the quotations and just reread it over a period of 1 month. They mastered the quotations, because as a previous session said, it's not a sprint; it has to be a marathon. So over a period of time, if you're doing it, it will be easy to. So it won't be a burden for you in remembering the quotations and the examples. So you have to do it in a systematic, in a slower way, and organized way. And also see how the questions are evolving. As I said, previous questions, nowadays if you see, the questions are moving towards more application oriented. It's not, nowadays the questions are not coming like what is A. Now the question is coming like what is the relation of A with B. So the both the two topics within the syllabus, they are trying to um, as the linking and interrelationship between both the topics. So be ready for the questions as well. So the key things is now make your notes ready. Go focus on content enrichment. The content enrichment doesn't happen in a day. Over a period of time, collect from multiple sources, your model answers, your newspaper, your standard books. So work on that. Then after a month or 2 months into the process, now try to start writing your answers. Then in answers, you try to get it evaluated, get the feedback for your answers, and see where do you stand, how to improve. So take away every criticism with a pinch of salt. So ensure that you are progressing in a right direction. Then try to see and emulate the toppers copies as well. That is one of the wonderful sources for your value addition, the content enrichment, everything. And then last but not the least, ensure that you are writing some test series, because in 3 hours the brain has to think. It's not GS paper where it's like a monotonous way. You are just dumping some facts. You are writing something. In ethics, you have to think a lot. In case studies, you have to think a lot. You have to come up with innovative solutions. You have to reproduce all their answers. I mean, examples, every value-added content which you have read. And last but not the least, please ensure that your notes are, I mean, ready and the sources of your notes are not multiple, are very limited. Ensure that because now the market is saturated with multiple material. You just need to go two or one good sources more than enough for your ethics. Ethics, the game changer is more practice and more value-added content for your answers. That is it. So now, if you have any doubts, please do ask me. One person has asked how to prepare for the case studies. You see, the case study is a real life some problems. It is just some real life problems which you are supposed to give solutions to it. So look at the case study from that perspective. How will you react from that if you are in that situation? First, try to come up with a realistic and pragmatic solution. It doesn't mean that you have to come up with some unrealistic and artificial solution. Case studies. First of all, before starting writing, just break down the case studies. First, identify who are the stakeholders. Then see what are the events and incidents involved within the case studies. Then you try to see what are the values at conflict with respect to the events, with respect to the stakeholders. Then you try to see whether they are in alignment with our constitutional values, our ethical values, or moral values. Then, once you have deciphered this entire box of content, so what are the values, what are the incidents, what are the stakeholders, and whether they are in alignment with our constitution and other moral values. Then now you try to sit down and try to write a case study. In case study, generally the problem is many people write appropriately, but they are not able to highlight what they are trying to say. They are not able to keep it very very short and crisp. People tend to write 3 pages, but it doesn't help in getting more marks. You have to give it subheadings. For example, there is Lukman's ethics model answers that is available in the Telegram. You can look into that. How they are deciphering the entire case study. In every case study, they are trying to bring this. Come up with a solution under 5, 6 subheadings. So when you are able to replicate that, the evaluator will be able to understand that you have analyzed that case study from multiple dimensions and you are able to arrive at a solution which is very feasible, which is very practical, and also try to come up. I mean, try to bring in some GS content into your case study as well. For example, GS to some. For example, we have some POXO cases or sexual harassment cases. Try to bring in some Supreme Court judgment. Try to bring in some real life examples. There also try to bring in, try to value your case studies. Try to value some examples. You don't have to do diagrams, but examples and the facts and real life examples will value add to your case studies. And also focus more on conclusion. The conclusion is to summarize entire thing. Many people they discuss multiple options, but towards the end they neglect concluding your case study. That should not be done because the case study has to be concluded. Ensure that you are concluding your case study in appropriate way and on a positive way. That is it. Generally, in civil service, people think that preparation starts with the prelims, but it is not the way. It has to be done in a reverse way. Reverse way, I mean, you have to start with your optional. You have to start with your mains GS preparation. That is the way it should be done. Prelims is just a qualifying paper. Now try to focus more on your optional. Try to focus more on your GS content building because ethics, optional, essay. These are the 3 things which can save you. Because if you see the mark sheet, here doesn't make a huge difference. It is just a matter of 30 marks, 40 marks. But in ethics, essay, and optional, you can make a huge difference. So try to focus. The earlier you start, more easier it would be towards the end. Because from January, everyone will be in a rush to start prelims preparation. So if you are early bird, it's well and good. So try to now itself take it in a slower pace because now you try to focus more on GS and optional preparation. But little bit time you give, over a period of 2 months, you will be able to cover most of the syllabus because it's very small syllabus. So you can start it now also. So that's not an issue. You just have to ensure that you are having notes, you are able to cover the entire syllabus. That is the main focus. See, for GS or optional or ethics, whatever the thing is, unless and until you don't test yourself, you don't know where do you stand in the competition. There is a there is a very tight competition. So the test series are are the standard metrics for evaluating where do you stand. Test series are must, but right now don't try to rush through it because it will undermine your confidence. Until and unless you are not, you are not prepared your notes, you are not studied every syllabus. I mean, everything which is given in a syllabus. Don't try to rush and don't try to write any join in test series. Once you're done, you can obviously join some test series and see. Where do you stand? Because based on the test series, you will be able to improve yourself as well. Because based over a period of time, you will see that there is a gradual improvement. Ensure that you are taking all the criticism in a positive way. Ensure that you are incorporating all the suggestions which they have given. So it is over a period of time. Now, right now, it's not appropriate to check. When you have started preparation, over a 1 month or 2 months time, you can obviously join. You see, I said there are multiple sources, but I can't pinpoint any sources, for example, because there are multiple good books. Lukman is also a very good book. We have DK Balaji sir as well. Even now, recently, we have Avdesh Singh's sir's IRS sir books as well. So stick to any one book. Every book is equally good. Every book is has covered the syllabus in a detailed way. So try to ensure that you have only one book. Don't run after multiple books. That is the thing I would say. Lukman book also is good. So if you just go through it, if you are able to understand it, please go ahead and make notes out of it. That is the thing. So someone has asked about how to, a brief thing about how to write a present and answer. So if you see any question, you would see they itself have given they picked up some values from our syllabus. For example, as I said, the concept how it helps in resolving dilemmas in public service. So there itself they given two key points: the consent and the public service. So just try to write a single line, one line about what is importance of consent in public service or something, and try to define what is consent, what is public service, then establish write a linking statement. What's the relation between both the things? The linking statement can be the first line or first point or the last point of the definition as well. Then, whatever the stand is which the question is demanding, just try to write and justify that stand. So try to keep it brief. And then, since I said ethics is relative, try to counter the point also which is given in the question. So when they are asking, conscience helps in resolving ethical dilemma, you can counter it, but that every time conscience doesn't help in resolving your ethical dilemma. So that way you are able to introduction, main paragraph, then counter to it, then conclude it. Conclusion you have to keep it. You have to keep it very optimistic. You have to keep it. It has to stick to the original demand of the answer. So that way it should give you a balanced answer in ethics. One person has asked about philosophical statement questions in ethics. You see, when they are asking about philosophical, ensure this is one of the important point. Whenever they are asking about philosophical point in philosophy, whatever the question is, one underlying values which has been taken from the syllabus will be linked. So identify that what is the value underlying. They are trying to bring up in that code. Generally, some values related to integrity, some related to honesty, or some related to probity, or something related to. And this time there was this question on inner revolution or inner engineering. So what it shows emotional intelligence. So every philosophical question will be somehow directly or indirectly linked to our topic. So identify the topic that itself will hit the bullseye. So identify that. So take some time and identify that topic. Then try to write your answer. That is the way forward for a philosophical answer. My source was Red Book of Forum IS. They have this Red Book for ethics. In that book, they have covered every topic in a vast manner. But in that, they have given quotations as well that you can easily incorporate in your answers. And a few examples they have mentioned. But for examples, only one has to work a lot because multiple sources come up with different examples. So one can be the source material and try to ensure that you are incorporating all the examples, whichever you read, come across in your newspapers in in a single piece of paper and try to revise it multiple times so that you are able to reproduce exactly the same way in the answer. So, forum wise is also good, the Red Book is also good material because my friend, we have prepared from that. So, that also you can prefer. So, every material is good. We just ensure that you are reading every material in a proper and systematic way. That is the thing.
Thank you, Satish.
Thank you, sir.
So it's a very great insights from Satish. Uh, Thank you, Satish. After this, I will be calling you.
Yeah, sure.
why we have to listen to the rankers? Why? Because they did hard work 2 years back, 3 years back. So why we want? Why? Because again we will be having Devesh Chaturvedi, we will be having Shivaraman. So our part of the academy students is are. So why, sir? Why? What is the requirement? Is for motivation. This exam requires motivation, a consistent motivation. Why? Because no one want to sit for 10 hours, no one want to sit for 11 hours, no one want to open the books and sit the reading rooms where everyone is enjoying some other places. Saturday and Sunday, going to functions, wearing new dresses, night pant, you people are wearing night pant and going. Means for that thing you need to have consistency. For that you want motivation. For that you want strong desire. Yes, for me also, for me also, in 2009, one person was been there. His name is Kiran, IRS officer. Same like you, I was being sitting in 2008. He also gave a workshop. Means after getting rank, how was his position, how is his life. So I was being motivated, but seeing that workshop, I totally got determined and worked hard. So you should know for what you are reading. You should know if you work this much of hard, what will be the fruits you will be getting later. See, we are calling up them. They are also sharing their success secrets. They are also they are ready to help you all. Means you have to take ethics. These are the points. Ethics from this he read. Okay, so let me check it. Or how the philosophical questions will be there, how to prepare for ethical dilemma question, how to prepare for case study type of question. It worked for him. So in that way, evidence. The ranker is an evidence. Achha. So I will also do that. But however, one reality is everyone have their own strategy. Every human being have their own uniqueness. With our uniqueness, we have to prepare our strategy. With our uniqueness, with our model, some people will be reading nights, some people will be reading daytimes. So according to your structure, you have to plan your preparation, but finally, everything should consolidate at examination platform. On the examination paper. That is why this is it. So we have a proper insights on economics, we have a proper insights on ethics. Anyhow, ethics, you don't need to worry. I'm declaring everywhere across India, ethics maximum hours, they will take 60 hours. At this place, in this particular academy, we took 90 hours of classes. We also conducted role play. It is there in the YouTube. We also conducted role play. What we did, we took one case study. Everyone, one is a IAS officer, another is a cheater, another is a contractor, another is a judge. Like that, we made a role play, like a drama. Like a role play, we did in real ethical dilemma, how we have to solve the problem. We did it. It is there in the YouTube. Just enter role play of ethics academy name. If you enter, you can watch it. Means practicalness is important. When you're talking also, you have to use the words like probity, honesty, integrity. This type of words, you have to use these words, you have to use in the examination, which is called as jargon, ethical jargon, technical jargon. So now what you have to develop means UPSC language you have to go. You have to search for what type of words UPSC will be checking. What type of words UPSC will be giving marks. Why? Because if those words are there, then only you will get marks. So you have to make one book. You have to make one book for ethics words, for physics, for politics words, polity words, for economic words, for science and technology words. So a book should be there, like a dictionary. Why? Because they will be searching for the jargon. If your option is anthropology or if your option is any option, for that option also there is a jargon. That words you have to use it. In that way, the preparation should go on. Tomorrow you will have a very good session of Rasul sir on history, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Then you will be having Nageshwar Rao sir, who is a retired IAS officer. He will be explaining his experience and how the IAS post will be there. These all things will be discussed by him. 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. will be there, and 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. subject will be there. Equally, I am giving importance for subject also. Subject motivation. Both should go hand in hand. So this is all for your continuity, your consistency. We are trying, and the same thing we will do till 2023 prelims, 2023 mains as well. Why? Because this batch is targeted batch for 2023 prelims. It's not just a coaching center. If you think it is a coaching center, you are wrong. This is targeted batch for 2023 prelims, for 2023 mains, for which we are committed, and now it's your chance. You should prepare strong, and you should also be consistent and you have to work hard. So tomorrow again we will meet at 2 o'clock. Russell sir classes, very interesting classes will be there. How to prepare ancient, medieval, modern, art and culture, world history, he will be explaining. Next class will be directly syllabus. Next economic class will be directly syllabus. My next polity will be directly syllabus. Next history class will be directly syllabus. And day after tomorrow, Thursday, you will be having on geography. How to prepare on geography. How to work out on geography. And Devish Chaturvedi, who got 148 rank, very good rank, 148. He will be also sharing in the same way. He is from Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh. Okay? Thank you. All the best.